Thank you so much for tuning in to Music Marvels with Achickwitbeatz and Breezy Gipson. I am music producer Achickwitbeatz,
And Breezy Gipson, entrepreneur, right here.
and we're glad that you're rocking with us once again. Great show lined up as usual, tons of music industry news, and we have Daneja Mentale coming back to join us. So, it's been a minute. It's really good to have him back in the mix, and I'm excited and can't wait. How about you?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. That's gonna be some strong stuff as usual from him. Oh yeah, loving it.
Most definitely. And of course, there will be beats by yours truly. And so, yeah, kind of ready to bring the show. How about you?
Oh man, let's set it off then. Set it off.
All right, let's go. back with music industry news. Roanoke nonprofit has partnered with Salem Farm to create an outdoor music venue and campsite. And so, Playlist for Life is the nonprofit, and they're focused on spreading awareness about mental health, substance abuse, and suicide prevention all through music. And so, they've planted roots in Salem by creating a 100-acre music venue and camping facility in partnership with Garrett Farms. So that's a pretty big deal. I love what they stand for. It's definitely something that kind of needs to be looked at and handled, and that's a great way to do it.
Oh man, yeah, you can't beat a role model or a model that's capsulized where it's like a trendsetter. So yeah, it's gonna be good.
Yeah. Especially with the whole substance abuse thing and mental health, it's an area that a lot of people kind of struggle with. And, kind of brings us to the next story. A new EU survey, European Union, shows that 37% of young festival goers plan to skip at least one, maybe more festivals because of the increased prices. And 43% plan to drink less or buy cheaper drinks, and 25% will eat less. How is that related? This is why the survey actually revealed that because of these increased prices, a lot of the people that surveyed said they're going to use more drugs than usual to to combat that. So it's like if they're not doing as many festivals, then they want to get higher for the ones that they actually attend. And so that was about 19% of the young festival goers that said that. And so, that could be really, really dangerous. I mean, you can see the logic, but it's kind of frightening when you hear that. Actually, you know what? Shout out to those people who admitted that, because now there can be things that can be done to try to offset that and combat what's coming. So, for instance, recently they've announced that Narcan is going to be available at music festivals. So, if you're not aware, it's a life-saving drug, naloxone, I think is how you pronounce it. Not really sure. But since it can reverse overdoses, it's going to be available just because drugs and alcohol are common at music festivals, and many people often overdo it. And especially now, when you add the overwhelming existence of fentanyl in drugs lately, the risk is now deadly. So, it's definitely something that needs to be addressed. There are some groups that have been working to kind of reduce the harm, including Dance Safe, Beats Overdose, and This Must Be the Place. This Must Be the Place has distributed, get this, 14,178 Narcan kits since March of last year. And so this includes big festivals like Bonnaroo and Burning Man. And so, just kind of a word to the wise, be careful out there, you festival goers. You definitely want to return home after having a good time. But yeah, I'm happy that these groups are kind of doing something to kind of offset the problem.
Yeah, man, just choose life, man. Just choose. Hey, think about how blossoming life is. Think about the opportunity. I mean, the mindset. That's a mindset where they feel that's a crutch. Hey, well, I'm going to this concert, and I'm bringing my stuff with me. They don't even need to do that. Okay, but hey, people are people.
Yeah, exactly. And especially because sometimes people actually buy it while they're there. You don't really know who you're getting it from. You don't know what they put in it. And so that's what most of the fentanyl problems have been because of, not because people are actually doing it on purpose, but because it's been put to cut whatever substance it is that they're taking. And I mean, we've already seen a lot of celebrity deaths because of that, synthetic drugs and all that stuff. So yeah, just be careful, please.
Yep, trying to show out, you'll be DEAD dead.
Yeah.
All
right. And another thing that's probably been flooding your social media feeds is AI music. So many stories about this. And of course, we have to bring it to you as well. We try to filter through some of it, the ones that are more important. But first up, Google's AI music generator is considered to be like a chat GPT for audio. So it can write 5-minute songs based on short text prompts. And so in order to do this, Google trained, it's called Music LM, all one word. But Google trained it on more than 280,000 hours of music sourced from Mulan, which is a model that was trained to link music to descriptions written in a natural language. So the system can generate clips up to 5 minutes long just based on the text descriptions. Right now, they say that it's probably one of the better ones that's out there, but it still kind of leaves a little bit to be desired because it's not human. So, of course, sometimes when you're feeding a formula, that's kind of how it comes back out. But yeah, there's so many developments popping up all over the place. And, currently it's not really available to the public, but there's a good chance it will be soon.
Hmm. Well, shouts to one of our former guests, one and only Kawan Mayo, and he released one AI generated and with the graces of Ice Cube. So it's up and running, and we'll see how that flows.
Yeah, and as we've mentioned before, the biggest challenge to a lot of the music AI stuff is just the whole copyright thing, who owns it and all that. So there's a lot of stuff to kind of be worked through. And yeah, as we've mentioned, there's going to be more stories like this coming until we get to that point where the rules are a little more clearly defined.
Yeah. And then one of my first thoughts about that was the fact that allows that particular artist or any particular artist that, if a person seeks their approval first, that and they get their approval, well, then that's some work put out, including the artist. And the artist didn't do anything. The artist didn't even really contribute, but the artist has got music out there. I mean, so there's all kinds of angles, all kinds of ways, so, and I think there's going to be a lot of artists that want, as long as they give their approval of it, that want their voice, or they want to be in the, that's popularity. That's, what do you call that? That's advertising for them. Somebody else did it. Okay, they said it's okay. Now their name is out there with a new song, and they never even went to the studio or nothing.
Right.
That's wow.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy. And that could mean a whole new revenue stream for artists without having to do the work behind it. We talked about, might have been almost a year ago now, about how they were doing that for audiobooks, like how it was used in, I believe it was Top Gun Maverick as well, where Val Kilmer didn't even have to read the script or whatever that was. They just use AI and they were able to do like the audiobooks and like a scene from that in using AI, and he still got compensated for it without actually having to do it. So I mean, yeah, it's bananas. But yeah, you're absolutely right. All right, another AI story, the app Petey, and that's Petey. It uses ChatGPT to make Apple Music playlists for you. And so, granted, it's Apple Music playlists, but you better believe they're probably not stopping there. Or if they don't move over to Android, then somebody else is definitely going to step up. But the mobile app actually brought ChatGPT to Apple Watch users and its features to the iPhone. So it allows users to access its AI assistant more quickly. And you can even swap out Siri with Petey by using Apple shortcuts. So now Petey can be connected to Apple Music to make playlists for you or help you add individual songs to your Apple Music library. So in order to get the recommendations, you have to go to type in your request for the playlist into the app's interface. So for instance, if you request a 90s grunge type playlist, it'll return results like Nirvana, Pearl Jam's, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, and more. And so after that, once it gives you the feedback of what they're recommending for you, the app will line up short previews of each song so you can kind of sample it before you actually add it to your playlist or accept it. And so, I mean, that's pretty advanced, pretty helpful. And, there's just so many ways that this can be used if done properly.
Yeah. Key words if done properly.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. All right. And unfortunately, the live streaming service Mandolin has shut down. They kind of fell into their niche when the live entertainment industry kind of shut down during the pandemic. And so the company had partnered with City Winery, the International Entertainment Buyers Association, the Pitchfork Music Festival, Telluride Bluegrass Festival, and more. Basically, to provide marketing and live streaming services for artists from the agency's roster. And a series was launched by Ground Control in 2020 as well to let their artists present ticketed live and pre-recorded streaming concerts. So the fact that they're closing down is kind of sad. You know, there's been a lot of changes to the tech sector. So I'm assuming that that's probably the majority of the reason why. But yeah, a lot of people are kind of returning to live concerts. So, you know, it's still a lot of people that would like to kind of witness stuff from the safety of their couch. You know, the pandemic kind of changed some things for people to where they realize, like, hey, maybe home isn't so bad. So yeah, there's still definitely a market for it, but unfortunately, they weren't able to kind of keep their footing through this downturn. But hey, that could mean an opportunity can arise later. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. We'll just have to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, Live Nation Urban and Mass Appeal have announced their first ever park jams, the Juneteenth celebration of hip hop presented by Google Pixel. So it's gonna have like DJ Premier, Grandmaster Flash, Kid Capri, Static Selecta, and many more that are gonna perform at Summer Stage in Central Park on June 19th. So hey, if you're in the area, hopefully you'll get to check that out. Or, you know, hey, maybe you think it's worth the trip. So definitely something to be looking forward to. And it makes sense to do it that way. Although I do wish Live Nation Urban would change their name because we know what the urban implies, but hey, still sounds like a good show.
Yeah. Well, sometimes things have little attachments one way or the other, but still, yeah, I hope it turns out good.
Right, right. All right, and KRS-One is bringing hip hop history to the people, specifically to his foundation at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue. And so this is a direct quote from KRS-One. We used our creativity when they tried to stifle us. We created the culture because we wanted to stand out and stand up for our artistry. Hip hop is the people's movement. I am excited to showcase this to the world in a space where it all began. And so, I mean, that's pretty awesome. I'm excited for what he's trying to do here because it is something that needs to be preserved. Not to veer too far off from that, but there's a huge difference between hip hop culture or just like the monetized rap music that we hear today in mainstream. And so, with his efforts and what he's actually doing here, which I just think is so phenomenal, bringing education to the community, it can kind of bring the focus of what hip hop culture is about back to the people, because there's so many people that aren't really aware of the history, so they think that they're fans of hip hop, and what they really mean is that they like rap music but don't really understand the culture that it was birthed from. So this is a really, really good thing that he's doing, and I hope a lot of people take advantage of it.
Yeah, and check it out thoroughly to the fullest, ahead of time. You know, and the reason I say that is because there's a lot of times shysters jump in there with their 2 cents, and I mean really 2 cents worth. But another opportunity with another step. So hey, see what happens.
Yes. And hey, KRS-One is called the teacher for a reason. So yeah, very educated brother. So I'm excited.
Oh, you're gonna date me now. You're gonna date me now or I'm gonna date myself. I got one opportunity to view KRS live. Oh man,
nice.
More than a decade ago. Okay, but hey, just think of the verbiage that's come through his delivery in his adult lifetime in music. Oh my God.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
All right. Now, okay. This is only, well, it's adjacent to music related, but it kind of brings up something else that we should probably discuss here on Music Marvels. But there's been more Twitter confusion and chaos because there was a fake MTV challenge account that got a gold tick after posting videos of violence and profanities.
No.
So yeah, the account's now suspended. It had the handle at Challenge MTV, and it appeared to be entirely unaffiliated with MTV or the game show. And it even had, the hashtag MTV in its bio to kind of generate that traffic. But yeah, it's unknown how the account got the gold tick because it's supposed to be reserved for the official and verified accounts of businesses that pay $1,000 a month. So if you think about that, they must have been able to present it in a way that it seemed that they were legit. But that's kind of the problem with allowing people to buy verification. So, there's been a lot of talk about what's been going on as far as being able to purchase verification on Twitter and Instagram. But if it's just spending money and they're not actually taking the steps to verify if that who the person is, we could have utter chaos, especially for music artists. Because how many times have you seen where people have been hacked and then they have to change their handle to the real whatever their stage name is because somebody else did it? But yeah, with being able to buy your way into it, that leaves a lot of room for some issues.
Well, it just goes back to my comment on the last news story. I mean, you got to check. I mean, that's really, you know what? That's really off.
Mm-hmm.
That we really do have to check the authenticity of a person of an entertainer's name or image or likeness to make sure it's really them. Mm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And,
Mm.
yeah, another thing that I think is unfortunate about this whole paying for verification thing is that when you actually pay for it to be verified, they're letting you know, at least that's how they presented it to people on Instagram, is that it's to protect your account from getting hacked. So that way they know if it's actually you. So they're offering that layer of protection. But if it's your platform, shouldn't you be trying to protect your users already? So yeah, if you have that ability to prevent someone from getting hacked, why not just do the right thing? That's kind of crazy, right? Or is it just me?
No, it's not just you. It is kind of crazy.
Yeah. All right. Indie publisher Peer Music is suing Sony Music Publishing for a cut of the profits from Lizzo's 2022 song About Damn Time. The track sampled Hey DJ, a 1984 track that was co-written by Malcolm McLaren, the legendary band manager who's credited with bringing the Sex Pistols, New York Dolls, and Bow Wow Wow to fame. So, good news, neither Lizzo or her label, Atlantic Records, is actually named in the suit, but hey, they're coming for the producer. So, just kind of a heads up. A lot of times people think that producers are protected, and that's totally not the case. I even had a potential collaborator that was like, oh no, let's just do it. It'll be fine. If something comes up, I got lawyers that'll handle it for me. I'm like, yeah, for you. But yeah, it's not, it's something to just kind of be aware of and be careful. A lot of times people don't fully understand the scope of how that works. Because I also thought it was kind of weird when, they were coming for, what's that song? Uptown Funk. But instead of naming Mark Ronson, I mean, I believe he was included in it, but anytime you saw that headline, everybody's like, Bruno Mars, Bruno Mars. Like, he didn't write it, he didn't produce it, he just lended his voice. So, yeah, you got to be aware of who owns what, especially when it comes to these legal issues like this.
Yep. Yep.
Yep. And
Yeah.
yeah. Jazz lovers rejoice. International Jazz Day is tomorrow, April 30th. The jazz journey around the world. So the All-Star Global Concert will be webcast worldwide at 4 p.m. Eastern. And so, yeah, if you want to check that out, make sure that you do. You can watch it at jazzday.com. I believe it's UNESCO.org, HancockInstitute.org, and you can also catch it on Jazz Day YouTube and Facebook channels and all their other outlets. So, yeah, whether you consider yourself an outright jazz lover or if you love old school hip hop, definitely something to kind of check out and absorb, because jazz is definitely a huge foundation in hip hop.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it crisscrosses, crossover, whatever terminology you want to use.
Mm-hmm.
They're blended. They're blended.
Yeah, because especially like I said, most of the beats and stuff from the golden era wouldn't even exist without jazz. So, yeah. All right. And dance music label Armada Music has launched a new investment fund to acquire recording and song catalogs in the electronic music space. So it's called The Beat, which stands for Best Ever Acquired Tracks Fund. It's backed by Pinnacle Financial Partners, and it's already made deals to acquire the KMS Records recordings catalog of Kevin Saunderson, and another to buy the recordings and publishing rights of Artie. And so Armada's going to handle the distribution of all the acquired recordings. And hey, you know what that is? Definitely using a different verbiage, but it's the same thing that we've been talking about, these music catalog purchases. And a lot of times what we're seeing is these companies don't want to reinvent the wheel. They'll just take something that's already existing to be able to make money off of it. So, hey, it'll be interesting to see what comes forth from that.
Yeah, very interesting.
All right, we're going to take a quick pause for the cause, and then we'll be right back with our special guest, Daneja Mentale.
Okay.
Hey fam, this is Breezy Gipson from the Breeze team. How would you like to see an online platform that brings you people who've already indicated that they're interested in your particular type of business? Whether it's your music you're selling, hip-hop clothing, you got a restaurant or a cafe, or if you're an entrepreneur or agent for a business. Visit me at breeze2cheese.com. That's using the number 2, breeze2cheese.com, or click my bio link on my Instagram profile to see a live demo of how this can help you get more customers and make more money.
Hey, this is Achickwitbeatz. I am a multi-genre music producer and strategist to indie artists and labels. Visit my website, achickwitbeatz.com, for resources for artists and instrumentals available in various genres for songs, vlogs, blogs, podcasts, themes, TV, film, commercials, and more. Once again, that's achickwitbeatz.com, ACHICKWITBEATZ. Let's make something happen. Thank you so much for tuning in to Music Marvels with Achickwitbeatz and Breezy Gipson. I'm excited, thrilled, and delighted to announce that we have with us in the virtual building, once again, Daneja Mentale. How are you feeling today?
Feeling great. I'm feeling great. How are you?
Good. So we're excited to have you back. But for the listeners that might not have caught you the last time that you were on, if you could, just kind of give them a little taste of who Daneja Mentale is and how you got into music and, what you represent.
It's Daneja Mentale, a.k.a. Bad Joby, a.k.a. Quad Control Station, a.k.a. Electric Lights. I am hip-hop, electronica, bass music, and producer.
Yeah, that's what's up. So tell us a little bit about how you got started in music.
I started when I was a kid, just helping out with DJing when I was young, and eventually I got into writing music of my own. Basically, coming up, listening to groups like Public Enemy, NWA, X-Clan, Paris, so many different groups that I came up on, and I was influenced by them. Ice-T, Boogie Down Productions, just so many names. And as I got older, I started learning production under the mentorship of Calvin Bradshaw from the 90s R&B group Basic Black, who was going on to do great things with other artists, such as Whitney Houston, the late Whitney Houston, and Missy Elliott. And now he and his group are back together doing their own thing. So I learned a lot from him and another friend of mine by the name of Juan Dominguez, who taught me DJing a little bit more as far as the techniques. So
Yeah.
I also, did a lot of poetry and stuff when I was coming up too. So that's what really got me more and more into hip hop.
So you named some heavy hitters there, didn't he, Breezy?
He did. And then also, I'm digging the fact that, he's had his foot in the poetry a bit. Okay. And so that logical transition, from the poetry into writing lyrics and stuff for songs and beats and stuff. I mean, see, you got me right there. I'm loving.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it was something that I started with when I was, I want to say like 11 or 12 years old. I started writing either parody raps and I was also doing the poetry then. A lot of that material then I was just, I put it like this. I thought I was doing something, but it's trial and error. You got to start from somewhere. So I like the fact that I kept going with it, and eventually it came into something bigger later on.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Right. A lot of times people are afraid to get that start just because they want to come out, great automatically, and that's just not how it works. But
No.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I do have to ask you if you wouldn't mind to go into a little more detail about the parody raps. Uh, and plus, that
Oh,
seems kind of young to be doing that as well. So, yeah, I'd love to hear some more about that, wouldn't you, Breezy?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
um, gosh, I remember it was one of the songs was a parody of Salt and Pepper's Tramp, and I cannot remember what the the name of the song was, but I was like, I think I was in the seventh grade, and that I think it has something to do with vampires. I don't know.
You see about
um,
Bamps.
yeah, so I think it was that. I think that was the name, to be honest.
Nice.
Um, so it was just a little something. I got a few good grades off of doing that, and I used to write little plays and all that just for extra credit,
Mm.
and not it was just it wasn't good, but it was good enough for uh, to help with my writing skills, and my teacher thought it was cool. Um, Classmates might have thought it was corny, but hey, anybody that participated, they got a good grade, so hey, they can't front on that.
Right. Hey, besides, knowledge is that fifth element, right? So yeah, it ties in. I don't blame you one bit. Okay. So you mentioned, hip hop and electronic music and house, and that's something that I think that I mean, not to say that we're older or anything, but yeah, a lot of the younger people don't really understand how well that fits together. Like, what do you think as far as for you to be doing all that? I mean, don't they just kind of marry pretty well? Like, I don't know, hip hop and house just go together to me.
Oh, it does, because like when you think about it, like 88, 89, 1990, that was that big era of hip house.
Mm-hmm.
You had Queen Latifah, you had Jungle Brothers, um, and you had other rappers that didn't normally do house music, but there were those remixes
Yeah.
on those 12-inch vinyl singles, and that's something I miss. I miss the time when you had the option to go to the record store and you wanted to buy a single and it had the remix on there. Um, Man, and it was just so many different sounds. There were times you come across a single that had at least 10 different remixes on it. It might
Yeah.
as well have been another album, you know.
Yeah.
But that sound was so beautiful at the time. And one of my favorite songs by Queen Latifah was "Coming to My House."
Yes.
You know,
Yes. Absolutely. I was in New York last year and found a copy that somebody must have gave to turned into the record store, and I was like, who would part with this? In what world? And I think it was like $1.99 too at that. But
so yeah, you came up on a deal.
right.
These
Yeah.
records now are expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. So
They
yeah.
never catch me buying two copies of the same record nowadays, because you're paying almost $20 for a single. No,
Yeah.
I'm good. I'll just make a copy.
Right. So yeah, no, it's really cool that you mentioned, how you do all the different genres, and I think it's pretty awesome that you're so multi-talented like that. Don't you agree, Breeze?
Yeah, yeah. See, I'm already having a vision of what he would look like, what the expression would look like on his face walking into a crate store where the crates are full of old school albums and the 12 inches and stuff. Man, you would be going berserk in there, wouldn't you?
Dude, I'm like a kid in a candy store. And then the main thing is you got to stop me, because I will spend. But there are times I've gone to thrift stores and they were giving away records. And I think last November, I went to this thrift store in Opelika, Alabama, and they were like get as many as you want. We're trying to clear out inventory. We have way too many. They should have never told me that. I went in that record store. I went in, not in the record store. I went in that thrift store, and I ended up with at least 6 bags of records and probably 2 crates.
Nice.
And then no more. I say no later than probably another month. I was at a record store in Opelika, and somebody was donating a lot of the records, I guess, to sell to either store credit or just to get some money from it. And the store owner was like, "Man, there's too many records, and a lot of them are not in the best condition. I'm not gonna waste my time and search through all of this." So he ended up putting 2 long totes of albums outside. And this, man, it's dark outside, and I'm just like, you know what, the heck with this? I just get all of this.
Oh, blame you, man.
Yeah.
It's
So,
like walking outside finding money on the ground.
I'm telling you, and I went up there for one. I think I went up there for a Nas album, and I ended up with that album and my back seat full of vinyl.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah. So that was 2 great months right there. October and November.
Whoa. Man, that's like heaven for music producers and crate diggers. Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Cloud 9.
Yep. Wow. Okay. So since you have your hands and all these different things, what would you say if somebody asked you what your first love as far as your involvement in music is? What would you say that would be? What would you rank number 1? Might be a better way to put that.
Ooh, that's a good question.
That's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, because I mean, as much as I love hip hop, I also love jazz music. And to a lot of people that grew up with me, a lot of them will assume that I wouldn't venture into other genres of music. They would think that all he knows is rap. No. I was introduced to jazz music at a young age. My father brought a Grover Washington Jr. album. It was, I think it was Mr. Magic. And, those records only had like four songs per album back then, because the songs were pretty long. So if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Mr. Magic. So that was my introduction. And then he had other albums that he brought by. But the big payoff, I think, with that is just getting into those sounds at a young age. And so I think my first would be jazz music.
Okay, that's really interesting that you say that. Don't you agree, Breezy? Because we were just saying earlier in the show, especially with the 30th being International Jazz Day, that a lot of the hip hop songs that we know and love wouldn't even exist without jazz.
Right.
So yeah, that's right on time, ain't it, Breezy?
Say that again.
So it's right on time.
Yeah.
So, with the jazz music, you got all the breaks, you got the bass lines, you have the keys, you have the strings, all those elements put into place. And then, you got to go back and get some James Brown, James Brown background vocals and drum breaks and put that all together. And so, you got that classic hip hop sound.
Yeah.
There you go.
And everybody was sampling James Brown back in the day.
Right. Yeah, I mean, just iconic. And so, I mean, I firmly believe that you can't make hip hop without listening to other genres. I mean, if you look at all the stuff that's been sampled for the songs that, we still deem classic to this day, that still inspire people. Like, in order to make good hip hop, at least, you have to listen to more than just hip hop.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something I had to learn, later on in production. A good friend of mine by the name of Gabriel Holland, he got me into listening to the Beatles. And I remember when he first tried to get me to listen, I'm not listening to no Beatles, man. I knew about, Paul McCartney. I knew about a little bit about John Lennon, but I wasn't getting into their music like that. But then I had to realize there were a lot of R&B acts that covered their music.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute. You had Lakeside that did covers of their songs. You had Billy Ocean, if I'm not mistaken, Aretha Franklin. So there was the influence was there. So I took the chance, and I think one of my favorites is the White Album with Helter Skelter. And I just came across that at Goodwill recently for $2.
What?
Yes.
Wow. That's, man.
Well, and I'll tell you another group that I got into a lot, Pink Floyd.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
Especially Dark Side of the Moon, The Wall, Wish You Were Here.
Yeah.
I wish I kept my album.
Yeah, like you can get inspiration from so many places that, you wouldn't necessarily think of. And so, it's really important to embrace, music as a whole, especially as a producer. So, we're talking about that with how you've been producing all this different stuff. What would you say to any listeners out there, since most of our audience is in the music industry in one facet or another? Do you have any advice to offer to any young producers coming up or that might be listening right now?
My best advice is to not give up. Never mind the naysayers. There are always going to be people out there that are not going to believe in your vision. The main thing is you believe in your vision. You keep pushing no matter what. If I had to go back and think about all the ridicule I had to deal with, and it's funny, when you're dealing with people who ridicule you for what you love doing, those are the most closet admirers. They are really out there doing the same thing that you're doing, but they're afraid to take that hit like you are. I have no problem. I dealt with it, and all it did was make me work harder to find that audience that is willing to listen, and the ones that truly listen. So I never gave up. So I advise the next person to not give up as well.
Man, yeah, that's. I wish we had an air horn for that right there, because that's some impactful stuff. Wouldn't you say, Breezy?
Yeah, I sure would. I just had recorded myself a little spot about positivity in the air around everybody, and to grab out to that positivity, because the negativity is also there, and you can't let the negativity overcome you. So the words that you shared go right along with that. It was just a topic on my mind, and here you are, in a different spot, in a different place, and confirming that just by what you're saying. So that's a profound statement coming from you on that. I like that.
And I had to remind myself of this a lot of times. So there are songs where I write about my past experiences. As a matter of fact, the album that I'm working on now, it's entitled "It's Not Me, It's You," and it's almost like I'm telling people, okay, I'm not the problem that you're making me out to be. Maybe the issue that you have with me is I believe in myself. Maybe you should do the same, and not focus on what the next person doing. Do what you got to do. Do you, And a lot of times people try to find fault in the next person when they, everybody's pointing fingers, but we all could use correction.
Yep. Very well said. So okay, you mentioned the album that you're working on, and So yeah, man, this time goes by so fast, especially when we're having fun. But yeah, can you let people know like where they can look for it, where they can follow you and keep up with what you got going, and just in case if you're not following him on social media, he's hilarious. So make sure you do that. But yeah, let people know where they can check you out.
You can hit me up on Facebook /Daneja44. You can find me on all the major streaming sites like iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify. You can find me on Bandcamp if you want to bypass the majors. I'm also I'm under the pseudonym of Quad Control Station, which is also on my Bandcamp page. So you'll see all of that music, and there will be more added to that site pretty soon. So just be on the lookout for that. Of course, I'm still using all the other sites like Reverb Nation. I'm still using SoundCloud. Heck, I'm still using SoundClick if I can still remember my path.
Awesome.
Yeah, I always feel like, if you have all of these outlets, all of these platforms, use them, because you never know who's listening.
That is so true. Man, underline what he said. That's a word of wisdom, a gold nugget right there, as Breezy would say. And, so yeah, Breezy, I know since we're looking at the clock right here, do you have like any final questions or thoughts you want to share?
Well, what I'm receiving is some history that will expand your mind. Okay. And so today, you have touched on a lot of that to make people think and to pull back and be aware of just, what the possibilities are. Okay. You're stepping out there, making some things happen. Others kind of stand back, watch, peep around the corner and stuff like that, do nothing. Okay. And so, in your own right, you're like a trailblazer. And so I kind of gravitate towards the trailblazers. And so I like what you're doing. It's just really sounding great.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah. So, I feel like this keeps happening, but yeah, we got to have you back again just because the time just feels so short and, we barely scratched the surface. So, yeah, if you open, we'd love to have you back again sometime soon.
Likewise, I would love to come back.
Awesome. So, yeah, before we get ready to close out, do you have any thoughts that you'd like to leave the listener with?
Look out for the music. But, on a real note, like I said, continue to do what you are passionate about. Don't worry about the people that don't support you in your area. Go out there, find some strangers. As a matter of fact, somebody on Facebook just said that. Go out there and find some strangers, because those are the people that are going to support you more than the ones that you're trying to force to support you. Don't worry so much about your area. You know what I'm saying? Because once you gravitate to higher plateaus, they'll follow.
Yes. All right. And so, yeah, you've been listening to Daneja Mentale. Make sure that you check him out, follow him everywhere he is. Make sure you cop that music, listen, stream, share it with your friends. And yeah, once again, thank you and can't wait till next time.
The show. So thank you once again.
All right, and that does it for this week's edition of Music Marvels with Achickwitbeatz and Breezy Gipson. Once again, we thank you, the listener, for joining us. A super huge thank you and shout out to our home stations, Grander Radio out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, and Sparks Radio out of Denver, Colorado. And I mean, it's just been a blast.
It has been. It really has been.
All right, so till next time, you know where to find us. Tune in, tell a friend, and we'll see you then. Peace.
Peace.